Continues the next stop. It is critical for all these bowlers. The final five today, trying to earn the all-exempt status for next season. Patrick Healey Jr. in that category. Title game last year. And Kansas City begins his day with a 9-pin, a little high.
Wow, that ball just went right by the 9-pin. Watch this ball. It's going to go right by the 9-pin, and the reason why is because there's a lot of friction on the lanes today. That ball was adhering to the lane surface, and it drove right through the pins, right by the 9-pin, no deflection.
Fifth year for Patrick Healey, Randy, on tour. Takes care of his 9-pin. We saw Mexico City, Mexico, but he was born in Niagara Falls, New York, right on the Canadian-U.S. border in that beautiful part of the country. And his wife now live in Mexico City. Here's Steve-Jaros from Chicagoland. 3 titles for him. He's not won in a long time. Wants all-exempt status. Valuable tour points. $40,000 on the line in prize money. Here today in Toledo. Won 29 regional titles. Great experience for Jaros. Single pin conversion numbers for Steve. Perfect. Looking to continue that today on TV. 10-pin, down it goes. Jaros and Patrick Healey Jr. Randy in the Baby Ruth real deal matchup.
Yeah, and the big thing, Dave, that really shines here is this. Steve-Jaros, every time he lets go of it, strikes more than 2/3 of the time. Obviously, his spare conversion percentage is going to be very high, too, when you're striking that much. But, you know, Steve-Jaros, 81 frames without an open, and it was a really good sign that he made that 10-pin.
That's the start you want, right? On lane 41. A pretty good-looking ball. 4-pin up.
Steve-Jaros gets it in around the 22nd board, and the players told me prior to going on air that the left lane was a little bit drier, a little more friction on that lane. You see Steve-Jaros goes a pinch high, Patrick Healey Jr. a pinch high on the same lane.
All right. We'll take the 4-pin. 88 events between victories for Steve-Jaros.
Cut that over with.
And his 26th career television appearance today. And the first of this season for him. Same goes for Patrick Healey Jr. Could not defend his title in Kansas City a couple weeks ago on our tour. 19th career TV appearance for him. 10-pin for him.
He's tired in the back.
Patrick has had a great amateur career as well leading up to his pro status.
Well, he really has. He's bowled in 7 different countries. As we take a look, we've got boards that are numbered, and basically what that's going to do is that's going to give everybody at home a reference point so that we can show you when the players are making adjustments. Okay, it's not just the physical part of this game, but the mental part. Guys are going to make adjustments throughout the telecast, not only from game to game, but from lane to lane.
As we'll talk about, Randy, pattern C this week at times has been very frustrating for the bowlers. Why is Patrick Healey Jr. here? Well, he lost to Danny Wiseman at 7. Very exciting round of 8 match here last night in Toledo. But because he was the highest qualifier through the first 2 blocks of qualifying, that's why he, as a round of 8 loser, is our wild card this afternoon. There are the numbers ready. Lane level look at it. Another 10-pin.
Yeah, standing somewhere around the 37th board. Remember, there's 39 boards of lane, but the approach is pretty much unlimited.
Really touchy.
Unless you're on the right lane, you have to deal with the ball return. You can get up to around or stand near about the 40th board on the right lane. You've got about another 10 boards on the left. You can see Patrick Healey Jr. shooting the 10-pin. He's right on, looks like around the 43rd board. Here's a good tip. You want to make the 10-pin. Stand as far left as you can, throw the straight ball.
You see him slip there at the end of that delivery. I was watching him in warm-ups today, Randy. He was very carefully monitoring the wood approaches here.
Well, sometimes towards the outside part of the lanes, they get a little slick, And obviously that's what practice is for the players to check the approaches, not only for their strike ball, but for their spare ball as well.
Jaros has cashed in 3 of his 6 events so far. Match play in 2 of the 6. There's a 2-pin for him. Still no strikes for Steve-Jaros or Patrick Healey Jr.
Well, we saw a little bit of this in Grand Rapids last week. If the guys got it right of the spot, it didn't hit the head pin. This week, if you got it right of the spot, it would still come back and tickle that head pin. Steve, lucky he only leaves the 2-pin and not the 210. Last week, you got it outside the spot. Forget it.
Got a lot of open frames and single pin conversion failures this year, much to our surprise. But so far, not today. They've covered their frames well.
And I think a lot of that has to do with the pressure of trying to get in that elite field for next year. And talking with the guys, the last couple of weeks, sometimes they have a hard time crowbarring it out of their hand, because of the pressure of just trying to make the all-exempt field.
Steve did make 3 shows last year in Philadelphia. Pretty good memory for you. Your title last year in Latham, New York, and Burlington, North Carolina. Hoping the adjustment was right. Finally, we had our first strike of the day, and the crowd overflowing here in Toledo, appreciative.
Steve's got a little bit of that Mika Koivuniemi going as you see the ball get into the swish zone, that light hit. He's got a little bit of loft, but it looked to me on that shot right there, looked like he just firmed up and threw it a little bit faster, and when you do that, the ball holds its line better.
Back to Patrick Healey Jr. Gauges his adjustment properly. Into the pocket it goes, 10 down in the pit.
Patrick Healey, a master with a rotation. Look at that ball rotating. You can see that axis tilt going down the lane. That's what gets his ball to read the lane conditions properly. Patrick Healey Jr. signed with a new ball company a couple of weeks ago. He said it's been a learning curve for him the last couple, but this week was the first week. His ball reaction was beautiful from start to finish. That's why he led the qualifier.
And has been switching in the 15, 16-pound ball category as well. Feels comfortable. That ball was way off the mark on lane 41, coming in significantly light.
Too fast.
Yeah, and that's just a bad shot. I mean, this ball doesn't hit the building. Look how far right it goes. Last week, that would have been 0. But you're right, Dave Ron. He said that he tried to go to 15 pounds at the start of the year and tried it for a week. He said, no way, I don't like it. Overthrew everything, went back to 16 pounds.
Knocked down 4 here, trying to increase that multi-pin conversion number. Covers well.
Perfect cover. He covered all 4 pins with a bowling ball.
That spared a long time.
He'd rather not face it, but great sportsmanship. You heard Steve-Jaros say good cover. These 2 exemplary in their sportsmanship, I'd say, on the PBA Tour. Strike here for a 10-pin lead, looking for a double in the 5th. Gets it. Big shot, Steve-Jaros.
Yeah, and a big double, too. And if you notice, this ball looked like it was going to go high, and it just stood up right before it got to the 1-3. But look at this beautiful form, how solid he is at the line. And watch this ball. Looks like it's going to go high. It actually stops and flushes the 1-3.
Okay, one time.
Lots of adjustments for Steve-Jaros. Once he came back from Japan, bowling there in the Invitationals, he told us, with the approach, with his arm swing, timing was thrown way off, and it's taken a while to get it back. A little high there. 4-7-10 remain for Steve-Jaros.
Said he was battling with early timing, and I think he's still battling with it a little bit, but he had a better ball reaction this week, so it's much easier to get your swing loose. But this ball cuts right through the heart. And obviously not liking the fact that he left a split instead of tripping the 10 out. But you know what? We saw Steve Wilson make the same split last week.
Will have to kick it across the deck, 10-pin up, and an open frame for Steve-Jaros.